Chapter 2, Out of the Blue and Into the Black. His breath was labored, raspy, and short. A stitch was developing in his side. Panic tightened around his chest. Fear robbed him of his ability to draw in needed oxygen fuel. Tears gathered in his eyes. He didn't want to die, not like this. Then again, who wants to die at all? Still, to die like this, in this state of permeating terror. It was like drowning in thick air. If he could only stop. Just for a moment. Just long enough to catch his breath. But it was still there, he could hear it. A constant slap, slap, slap of footfalls behind him in the darkness. Never speeding, never slowing, relentless. How did this happen? He wasn't a bad guy. Not really. Well, no worse than your average everyday human monster. He worked, contributed to society with his taxes, and he never ever kicked a bum. Okay, so he wasn't the most faithful husband, and so what if he might take a few supplies home from work? They wouldn't care about a few rolls of toilet paper, would they? Even if they did, they could afford it. So, what? What if he had been free with his hands when his wife spent a little too much shopping online? She didn't have to work for that money. He did. She should have known better. After the backhand, he was sure that she did now. For fuck's sake, did he really deserve to die? The darkness closed in even as the last of his strength began to drain from his bones. No, of course he didn't deserve to die. This was all a misunderstanding. Someone else should be here. That was it. He had found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Zigged instead of zagged. All he would need to do was explain it. He was good at explaining things to people. He explained to employees why they had to follow his instructions to the word. He explained to clients why he was the best person to manage their accounts. He explained to his bosses why they should put more money in his bank account. He could talk his way out of this. If only he could breathe. If only he could get his wits about himself. Slap, slap, slap. No faster. No slower. Slap, slap, slap. If it catches me, it'll tear me apart. It will eat my eyes while I'm still alive and screaming. It will tear through me like a gingerbread man. That thought was almost humorous. He nearly gave over to a strange sense of hysterical chaos at the thought. Had he the breath in his lungs, he may have shouted, "Run, run, fast as you can catch me, I'm a fat OL man." He felt his panic ease. Or maybe exhaustion was taking over. Something about the thought of a gingerbread replica wearing his suit and $500 shoes had brought a sense of how ludicrous this whole thing was. An hour ago, he had been standing on the sidewalk with a hot dog in one hand and a Diet Dr. Dolittle in the other. Now he felt himself being rolled into a soft white roll and slathered with mustard by some ungodly beast that continued. Slap, slap, slap. With great effort, he picked up the pace, grunting through the stitch in his side. There was something ahead. Faint, but yes, it was something. Christ almighty, it was a glint of hope. A single pin prick of white, no, blue light lay ahead. It was an actual light at the end of a tunnel. The light grew in size and intensity. Just a few hundred more yards, perhaps only a few hundred more feet. Hope springs eternal, he thought to himself. Slap, slap, slap. Isn't hope a wonderfully deceitful thing? He was going to make it. He knew he would. He began to laugh, and the words actually fell from his lips. Run, run, fast as you can catch me, I'm. His voice trailed off as he was grasped by the neck and lifted from the ground. His feet dangled and kicked, seeking purchase and finding none. He looked like a cartoon character running in the open air after finding himself over the edge of a mountain. The only thing missing was the little sign reading help. Gack, gack, gack was all the sound he could muster now as he clawed at the enormous hand that clutched him. He felt piercing pain in his flesh as fingernails as sharp as kitchen knives dug in. He felt warm blood run down his chest, then warm urine down his crotch and legs. His body turned slowly. In this darkness, he wouldn't be able to see the thing that held him. That would be a mercy. He prayed to someone, anyone, everyone that he wouldn't have to see it. But he did see it. The pain in his flesh crawled back behind the curtain of terror like a whipped dog hiding from its master. By all the gods that anyone ever worshipped, he could see it. Eyes that seemed to float in a black pool of disgust and disdain for human life burned holes into him. Red-rimmed gray orbs of pure hatred they were. He felt his soul pulled into those eyes. Swim into eternity, he thought, the water is warm and safe. There was a sudden sickening sound like a wet rag thrown against a shower wall. It was a sound that he never heard. His head was ripped from its perch just above his shoulders. He felt a sense of falling, lightly and further to the ground than he could imagine. He blinked once in disbelief and could see his body silhouetted by the white, blue light. It was hanging in stasis in the monster's grip, its face buried in the bloody stump where his head had once lived rather happily. Darkness rapidly shrouded his eyes until he could see no more. He had one last moment to thank eternity for that small pity. Out of the blue and into the black.